it's a Kamala story. And I think it could be game over for Kamala because Kamala is in full desperation, full on desperation. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, I'm going to be showing you some tweets and some videos. Kamala waited until 3 weeks to create a black agenda. Kamala also decided to tweet on Easy Street. You won't believe it. No one should go to jail for smoking weed. And then she's now desperate trying to push for reparations to get black votes. And she's also saying that she could lose the election by blaming Russia. And she's also accused of plagiarism. So we got 5 stories in one. So first, let's talk about how Kamala's already going to be blaming Russia. She's going to be blaming Russia if she loses. So everybody, it's Putin's fault. It's Putin's fault. Your dog ate your homework? Putin did it. You got a car crash? Putin did it. You stubbed your toe? Putin did it. It's Putin's fault. Kamala losing the election? Why, it's Putin's fault. Let's play this video.
Kamala Harris is already casting doubt on the result of this election by pushing Russiagate nonsense. Democrats often pretend that casting doubt on elections is the worst thing that you can do unless it's them blaming Russia for why they lose their elections.
And they have shared with us what we know, which is that Russia interfered in the election in 2016. And I do believe that
that's a lie. Russia did not interfere with the election. Clinton just ran a piss poor campaign and she lost because nobody liked her. There. Kamala, you're kind of that click, copy, paste.
there will be foreign interference in the 2020 election and that Russia will be at the front of the line. And this election is going to be no different. They've already started with the misinformation and the lies. We know that there is foreign.
Teddy G. Now you be nice, all right? They got a problem, those lib males, okay? They got a problem. Now you be nice. Now get up and go see the White House counselor and you tell her what you just said. Shame on you. Where did my audience learn to be so mean? Why is my audience so mean? And I better not hear you learned it from me because not once, not ever have I said anything mean on this show. I am a good person.
Foreign interference, and I have to say to everybody listening to this, I was part of the Senate Intelligence Committee when we investigated Russia's interference in the 2016 election. Black folks were targeted with misinformation because there was an assumption that you're already targeting a group of people who already have learned based on a lived experience that things aren't necessarily designed to work for them, and manipulate that in a way that suggests to people that their vote won't matter.
I also love the shade thrown at black people. Whenever liberals bring up Russiagate, they are admitting they think black people are so dumb that we possibly can't think independently. We must be being tricked by the Russians.
And this is really insulting, especially to black male voters, black women voters. I mean, voters in general. But the way the Democrats right now are targeting black males and Kamala's campaign 3 weeks before the election even happens, before election night happens, they come out with a black agenda. Hey, Democrats, you're pandering a little bit too much. You know who had a black agenda before Kamala? Well, Jill Stein did. Oh, my goodness gracious, Cretaceous. Ain't that a wonder? Do you want to know who had policies on her campaign website before Kamala? Jill Stein did. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. I'm going to be fair here. Do you want to know how long it took Kamala Harris and her campaign to actually have policies on her campaign website? It took about 48 days. Now, Trump had policies on his campaign website as soon as he got out the gate to run, as did all of his Republican primary opponents. Chase Oliver, the Libertarian candidate, had policies on his campaign website, especially during his primary, as did all of his opponents. Jill Stein had policies on her campaign website. RFK Jr. running as a Democrat, as did Marianne Williamson and Dean Phillips. Right, they all had policies on their campaign website right out the gate. And even RFK Jr. running as an independent, boom, policies there. So did Cornel West. My God, but Kamala, it took so long, and even when you guys coded it on there, it still had vote for Joe Biden. And now, with such a few precious days left, the Democrats, Kamala, crap out a black agenda. Wow. I don't believe you.
I don't need the Russians to convince me that our ruling class is filled with criminals. And it's always rich when a Zionist like Kamala Harris brings up election interference. Kamala Harris took over $5 million from AIPAC. Kamala Harris has done the bidding of AIPAC her entire career, which is why she pledged unwavering loyalty to Israel as they commit their genocide against the Palestinian people. The Biden administration is so attached to AIPAC. When Cori Bush lost because of AIPAC election meddling, the Biden administration condemned Cori Bush and called her statements against AIPAC defamatory. That's how committed Democrats are towards Zionist election interference. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris has the nerve to say that black people are being brainwashed by Russians. Never forget, whatever the United States accused their enemies of doing is 100% pure projection.
Now let's talk about this. I also want to pull this up here. All right. This, my friends, my lovelies, my mornings, my sunshines, you beautiful people tuning in. First of all, this was a retweet from good friend of the show, Sabby Sab, the doobie doobie doo. Hold on. I really like her show, and especially when she does what's the coffee mug like this. It's awesome. It's awesome. So shout out to Sabby. Shout out to Sabby. But Kamala waited until the election is 3 weeks away to create a black agenda. Oh my God. Oh my God. And she has the audacity to include and others. She put black men last because they were an afterthought. But let's be real. She won't do this bare minimum plan. This is just to get your vote. So let's talk about this. Black men deserve a president who cares about making their lives better. You know, I was invited by Jamal Green to participate and speak at an event. I spoke only for a little bit, but it was in regards to black voters and how the Democrats are going after and smearing and trying to target and shame black male voters. And you want to know what everyone was saying in that chat, in that stream? That the Democrats have tricked and abused people, especially black men and black women, for far too long. See, Democrats, you're losing your traditional voting base. And I reached out to Jamal Green. I'm hopefully getting back on the show again because I look at this agenda, I look at this policy, and I know for a fact she ain't going to follow through on it because she's a Democrat and Democrats like to lie. So let's read the Harris-Walsh policy. Kamala Harris will create an opportunity agenda for black men. Provide 1 million loans that are fully forgivable up to $20K for black entrepreneurs and others to start a business. That's a lie. Support educational training and mentorship programs that lead to good paying jobs for black men, including pathways to become teachers. That's a lie. They're not going to do it. Protect cryptocurrency. Oh, yeah, because cryptocurrency investments, right? So black men who make them know their money is safe. Yeah, that ain't going to happen. Launch a national health initiative focused on the illness that disproportionately impact black men. Not going to happen. I've seen this before. Democrats, you like to talk this good game. Legalize recreational cannabis and create opportunities for black Americans to succeed in this industry. Gee, hold on. Wait a minute, Kamala. Oh, hold up. No one should go to jail for smoking weed. Kamala. Breaking down the unjust barriers that hold black men and other Americans back and making sure black Americans have opportunities to succeed at the marketplace take shape. What? Maybe I'm getting senile. Maybe I finally lost it. Maybe I'm finally going crazy, audience. But wasn't she, Attorney General? Wasn't she significant in calling for truancy programs to arrest parents? Maybe I'm not remembering the past properly. But hold on, I just want to read some tweets here. This is from Donut Operator. You literally locked up countless black men on cannabis violations. Clown World writes, is this a joke? Weren't you the one locking up people for weed not that long ago? Now you're trying to act like you care? and El Dondo Trumpo. I don't know who that is. He looks shockingly familiar, but I can't put my finger on it. You literally jailed 2,000 people for this. Folks, do you think Kamala's going to be fair and just about legalizing cannabis? Type 1 for yes, Kit, she has changed. People do change. Type 2, man, no. That black agenda is crap. That cannabis legalization is crap. Kamala is lying. She's doing it to pander, and make people want to like her. I wonder how many 2s will be in the chat. I wonder, do you ever wonder? Do you ever wonder? Now let's go ahead and talk about Kamala's desperation, as Kamala is getting desperate for black voters.
My question to you is,
and this was an interview with Charlemagne the God from CNN. And look, it's a situation room with everybody's favorite energetic guy, Wolf Blitzer.
what's your stance on reparations? We all know that America became great, off the backs of free black labor. How progressive are you on making it a priority and righting America's wrongs? It's understood that you are running for president for all people of America. Asking for specifics for black communities doesn't mean don't do for others, but black Americans are heavily asked to vote Democrat in every election for over half a century with very little in return. What are your plans to address these very important issues and change that narrative?
Thank you, Zeke.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you for your work. So to your point, yes, I am running to be a president for all Americans.
Get ready for the word salad. Get ready for the word salad, folks.
That being said, I do have clear eyes about the disparities that exist and the context in which they exist, meaning history, to your point.
God. Oh, my
So
God.
my agenda, well, first of all, on the point of reparations, it has to be studied. There's no question about that. And I've been very clear about that position. In terms of my immediate plan, I will tell you a few of the following. One, as it relates to the economy, which is a lot of what you have addressed. Look, I grew up in the middle class.
I knew it. I knew
hard.
it. She grew up in the middle class. God damn it. Sorry. You know what? We got to do a counter. How many times she says I grew up in a middle class home? I mean, come on.
Raised me and my sister, and by the time I was in high school, she was able to afford our first.
Yeah, talking about her mom. Hey, what about your dad? You ever gonna talk about your pops? Because I am not a professor, a scientist, a lawyer, or an astronaut. Not a technician or anything. But last I checked, it takes 2 to make a baby. It takes 2 to make a baby. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe in this modern day and age, there's been some changes that I was not given the memo about. But okay. But what? Let's rewind, folks. Did you hear what she was talking about in regards for a policy for reparations? Because if you're a black voter voting Democrat, please tell me, did she answer this question for you?
To address these very important
Work.
and change that narrative.
Thank you, Zeke.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you for your work. So to your point, yes, I am running to be a president for all Americans. That being said, I do have clear eyes about the disparities that exist and the context in which they exist, meaning history, to your point. So my agenda, well, first of all, on the point of reparations, it has to be studied. There's no question about that. And I've been very clear about that position. In terms of my immediate plan, I will tell you a few of the following. One, as it relates to the economy, which is a lot of what you have addressed. Look, I grew up in the middle class.
She grew up in a middle class. She grew up in a middle class home. That's what happened. That's what happened with Kamala. Does she have anything? No. But also, I want to pull up this video here, too, or this article here. It's from RT, just to trigger the liberals. Kamala Harris accused of plagiarism. U.S. Democratic presidential candidate, Vice President Kamala Harris, has been accused of multiple instances of plagiarism for a 2009 book on policing she co-authored while serving as a district attorney of San Francisco. By the way, how's San Francisco looking these days? And look, I'm not one to talk because Chicago's got its problems, but I think San Francisco's got us beat, including Los Angeles. According to an investigation conducted by a self-described plagiarism hunter, Austrian Stefan Weber. Okay, sorry, don't mean to use the German accent. Harris lifted at least 24 fragments from other authors in the Smart on Crime book, which she wrote with Joanne O.C. Hamilton. 3 other fragments were self-plagiarism from work written with a co-author, according to the expert. What do these findings say about Kamala Harris? Is she in part fake? Did her ghostwriter plagiarize? Was it just the team behind her? I have no idea. I let other people from the U.S. draw the right conclusions, Weber wrote on his website, detailing all the instances of alleged plagiarism in Harris's book. The allegations against Harris were also reported by conservative activist Chris Rufo. In a post on his website on Monday, he pointed to several passages from the vice president's book, which appeared to be lifted word for word from other sources. In several instances, Harris seemed to have lifted entire sections from Wikipedia. Oh my God. Wait a minute. Hold up here. Kamala Harris, you're going to use Wikipedia? You're going to click copy paste from Wikipedia? We have a whole process now of finding out if something's been lifted from Wikipedia. But this was from 2009, so maybe she just doesn't know. While other passages feature near verbatim reproductions from an NBC News report, a John Jay College of Criminal Justice press release, and a report from the Bureau of Justice Assistance, among others. There is certainly a breach of standards here. Harris and her co-author duplicated long passages nearly verbatim without proper citation and without quote marks, which is the textbook definition of plagiarism. The activists noted that while Harris may have relied on a ghostwriter to draft her book, she is ultimately responsible for plagiarism contained within, as it has her name on the cover. Rufio called on Harris, as well as the publisher of the book, to retract the stolen passages and issue a correction. There should be a single standard, and Kamala Harris is falling short. Oh my goodness. While Harris was not personally commented on the allegations, her campaign has dismissed the claims, insisting that their candidate clearly cited sources and statistics in footnotes and endnotes throughout the book. Because never once would a politician lie, even though Kamala Harris is from a middle-class background. Even though Kamala Harris is constantly trying to pander and constantly beg voters to take her seriously. Does Kamala Harris have what it takes to be a leader? No. Does Kamala Harris have what it takes to be consistent? No. Does Kamala Harris have what it takes to do the right thing? Absolutely not. Positively not. Because Kamala Harris is not a reliable human being. She is not someone to be respected, because no matter what she does, she's part of the Democratic machine. And what do Democrats do? They like to lie. They like to blame people. They like to talk down to voters. So when you go out to vote, just remember, how many times have the Democrats lied to voters? How many times have Democrats given the middle finger to voters? Does she have a solid black agenda? No. Does she have any agenda for any American? No. She's just there to follow orders and comply with the neoliberal agenda. So do yourselves a favor. Vote clean. Vote a clean conscience. Don't vote Democrat or Republican. Vote third party. Just to trigger the libs.
If you fool me once, it's because I didn't think a guard was needed. If you fool me twice, it's because I didn't learn the lesson, so it bears repeating. If you try the same play 3 times running, it's because you know what's coming, and you didn't come to lead, you came to purposefully be misleading. Democracy is dry. It's been a century bleeding. The husk is gaping open to the sky, out in the field where all the sheep just keep on circling and worrying and bleeding. They're waiting for the shepherd that they've tried to hide their faith in, but he's so appealing. They'd gladly give their fleece. It's such a freeing feeling that even when he leads them to the ledge and starts to urge them on, they're positively beaming. They were told that they were on their way to save democracy, so even as they plummet, they just gloat. They don't consider screaming. And halfway up the cliff, the shepherd's cozy little mittens wrap around the staff of shattered human hopes on which he's leaning. He shows the gentle grin that used to stir your inner spark, and he says, "Not me, us," as he gestures to the oligarchs. He knows that if he runs, they're going to stop him like a stolen car. And he'll easily surrender because it bought a lot of time for laying mines in all the grassroots. Suddenly, the tiniest of movements gets you blown apart. Suddenly, you're in a play that's set on an election day and voting for the fire, unaware you're playing Joan of Arc. Suddenly, the shepherd pulls the rug and slips a hood across your clueless mug, and everything goes zero dark. I'm gonna warn you once more before it's 2024 and you fuck around and find out who your heroes are. To take a step back from the herd and you'll learn that you can spot who all the shearers are. If you really want to know the product that they're selling, I can take you where the mirrors are. If you think your voice is finally ready, I can tell you where the lyrics are. I hid them in a box I had to bury neath the cobble when they carpet bombed the promenade and raided all the street bazaars. Now all we've got's the marketplace, and you're too broke to even bother asking what the options for your treatment are. Suddenly, the raw debris of homeless human dignity will find it has 100 teeth for every badge and sweeper's arm. Suddenly, they speak in solidarity and each is armed. Suddenly, the sheep can see the shepherd for his truest form and all pitch in at once to help him buy the farm. And now it's zero dark. And all is calm and peaceful save the distant wail of sirens that approach beside the flames of dawn. Suddenly, the carrot's just a string that's on a stick, and all your movements make you sick because the prize is gone. Now, we could go and flee into the forest low and meek, or we can exercise our right to feast and go and graze on Biden's lawn. Because he's been sowing seeds that seep a toxin out to sap a bit from each of us and keep on leaching decades after Biden's gone. So regardless who they summon out of hell to come and do the job, it will not feel like Biden's gone. But in that time of hopelessness, you cannot trust the shepherd when he once again comes asking you to humor him his siren song. And it's cute that you can innocently, honestly assume that's just a symptom of a system that was wired wrong, and not the standard feature, basic function, primary objective of a mass hypnosis firebomb. You don't need to know the words to cry along. Someday it'll hit you like an officer who pistol whipped their ride along. Broke his jaw and kept his job and kept it moving right along. That voting isn't red or blue or black or white or right or wrong. Voting's like a firing squad where you can choose the firearm. It's slow extinction by and large. It's Super Tuesday supercharged. It's all your futures, roots and all, just tossed out on a garbage barge. It's everybody dropping out to push the biggest oligarch. It's everybody voting fire, registered as Joan of Arc.